Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Crush It in Sales podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet, and I'm so grateful that you joined me today. Thank you. I wanted to talk about sales and self-promotion because this has been a ginormous journey for me, and not in the typical way that one would assume. What I'm going to say is that the typical way one would assume is that you feel that you're bugging people, right? A lot of sales people feel this way. They're like, oh, I just feel like I'm bugging them. And it's a lot of work and challenge to get over that fear and get a little uncomfortable and keep putting yourself out there. For me, yes, that does creep up once in a while. I'd be lying if it didn't. But for me, the overriding thing that I've had to get over, and this has truly been a lot of work for me, is me assuming that everyone has read my posts before, listened to the podcast before, watched the YouTube video before, or listened to the YouTube video before, or read the blog. I always believe that everyone knows everything. It is the weirdest thing. And I don't know where it really stems from. I guess you could say that I really believe in people, and I believe that people are innately intelligent, and I believe in their power. And so I guess I believe that everyone reads everything I write, and everyone remembers everything I write, and everyone that wants to take action on something is going to take action on something, which is actually still really true. But in the meantime, I've just really had to wake up, like a big wake up, kind of like getting splashed with cold buckets of water continually over time, that, you know what? People really don't. They really don't. They really don't read your posts. They might like your post. They probably didn't read it. And if they read it, do they remember? Or did it click? Or did it go, oh my gosh, oh, this is what Melinda does? And it's really just been such a fascinating journey. And also one where I've had to really work through triggers around that. And being like, well, what do you mean you don't know? Like sometimes that goes through my head. Like, what do you mean you don't know? And it's been, just really, really eye-opening. And I have to say, I'm really proud of the progress I have made over the years. And it's been primarily self-led. And once in a while, I'd hear maybe something from another coach that would kind of just give me a little validation, kind of like a little like, here you go, a little, cheering you on the side of the road as you're running a marathon, those people that give you the cup of water and say, keep going, so that's kind of how I look at validation, and all that's really great. And you should too. It's a really great way to be. But I've had to do a lot of work around that, and it continue. I had something last week. I went to an event, someone I've, had conversations with, met over Zoom. We have someone in common, and she was like, basically like, who are you and what do you do? And I was like, wow, okay, breathe and share a little bit about yourself confidently. And this all comes from, working on my mindset around this, working through the triggers, really getting over the fact that, it's okay. People really don't know what you do. You have to keep promoting yourself. You have to keep sharing and not really have any judgment around that. Just keep going. Just keep going. So whether you are the person that is fearful that you're, being annoying or bugging someone, or, oh God, they've probably heard this 20 times before, they don't want to hear it again. Or if you're like me, where it was more of the opposite, like I assume everyone did, so I don't need to do it anymore because I assume that they did it. So it's not even from a place of bugging them. It's just an assumption. Where did that come from? And zap it in the butt. Get rid of it. Keep going. You have to keep promoting. And it's so funny because, we all know those marketing statistics that, 20 sometimes, 30 sometimes that people have to hear about what you do, or, hear about, something you've helped someone else with or transform. And we still just ignore them. We have to get over this conditioning. A lot of conditioning, a lot of conditioning. So yesterday I had an amazing day. I went up to Sweet Haven, which is a indie bookstore in South Miami. It's in this cute little area called Cully Square. It's a really cute little street, like metaphysical shops, and there's some places to eat. I had a delicious, what was it? A chicken fajita from a food truck called Ma Joe's. It was delicious, and I just had a really fun day. But we were talking about that as authors. There was a lot of authors. We all were able to have a table with our books, and it's really just about exposure and continuing to tell people that you're a writer, you're an author. Like, this is what my book's about. And they were sharing stories about how they've been at one event, and maybe the person didn't buy, but then they went to the next event, or they saw them on Instagram and then they bought it the other time. And, this is just how it is. This is how it is. So if you are in sales, or if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're a coach, or if you're a writer, or you have some other type of business model, you have to keep promoting. Like, it's just part of it. You have to keep promoting, like, keep sharing your story, keep sharing what you do, keep sharing how you help others, like, share from all different aspects. So maybe you're sharing a bunch of different varieties. I mean, that's what I like to do, is I like to mix up my content. I like to mix up the type of stories that I share so I don't get bored, right? So I'm always excited. And then also trust that when the person is ready, the person will make the decision to work with you or buy from you. It's really become in the hands of the other person. And this is something fascinating that I've learned a lot about. I've learned that experience myself, and then I've heard other coaches talk about it too. So it is really, one of those things. With the sport fishing business, I would always joke with people. I'm like, yeah, we don't stand on like the side of the road with like a shark costume on, like telling people to book with us. Like, when someone's ready and they feel aligned to book with Ryan, they book with him. And it's the same thing with almost every business out there. So you just keep promoting and sharing from a place of love and compassion. And when the buyer is ready, the buyer will buy from you. Coaching from a place of pain and selling from a place of pain, that is just the old paradigm, and it does not feel good. So if you are someone like me that is just an entrepreneur who has a lot to share and a lot to teach and a lot of tools and ways that you can help others, just keep going. Just keep going. Keep sharing. Get over any fears you have about self-promotion in sales, because we've all been there on some avenue, on some aspect. And that has been just a big awakening for me of, oh gosh, this has been my challenge. This has been my look in the mirror. Realize that, nope, people really don't know who you are, Melinda. Like, in my mind, they know who I am, but they really don't. And I have to keep sharing my stories and how I can help others live their best lives too. And, the different tools and services that I provide. So I really hope that you like this little kick in the butt podcast. If you need some help out there, if you need, just some little motivation to keep going, because that's what I see is so many people start and stop. And the start and stop is what creates that pattern, and then creates all these limiting beliefs in your head. And that's where I can really help you as a private one-on-one coach. I have several different packages and ways that we can work together. I'm also starting a group coaching program, a mastermind called Beyond Basic Elevate. And that is going to kick off the end of October. And it's going to be $111 a month if you want to pay in full for the year, because it is a year container is how I'm looking at it, but a 3-month commitment. So if you want to pay for the year, it's $999. And then I also have the 2-day experiences. I'll put all this information in the show notes. And then also I introduced a business audit, Beyond Basic Business Audit. And there's a Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn post out there from a couple days ago. Gosh, today is the 10th of October that I'm recording this, so I believe it was either the 7th or the 8th, with an old picture of me. And feel free to read that story. And if it relates to you, if you're like, gosh, I would just really love for someone to just listen to some podcasts, watch my videos, look at my branding, read my posts, give me some suggestions, like give me some things to think about. I'm here to help you with that because I lived through a really horrific experience 3 years ago. And I just said to myself, someday when when I have enough experience on all the platforms, heck, I even have an app with my husband, a Good Karma Sport Fishing app. So if you're someone that even has an app, I understand apps. I have a lot of experience on all the different platforms, and I am more than happy to do a business audit for you. And there's several ways that I can do that. Number one, I can do it just via email. That's level number one. If you want to add on a Zoom call, that's level number two. And if you want to add on a little bit of additional support, because sometimes you have follow-up questions or, hey, can you just look at this one more time? I'm more than happy to do that. That would be level number three. So just many, many options and ways to work with me because you know why? We are all different. We are all different. And I have worked with coaches and mentors on so many different levels, and I want to be able to share different levels with someone else too if they feel called to work with me. So check out those links. They will be in the show notes. And until next week, thank you so much for listening. You can follow me and connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter. And I hope you crush it in sales. Thanks again.